Okay, AEW Blood and Guts wrapped up about, give or take, half an hour ago. So, yeah, I don't have pictures for every match on the show, but there were only 4 matches, so I think it's okay to make do with what we had here. We started things off with the FTW Championship match, Hook versus Jack Perry. Opens up with a vignette of Jack Perry out in the desert digging a hole. He then see a pair of Jungle Boy-esque boots getting dragged into said hole, so he's killing the character of Jungle Boy. Tarzan Boy starts playing, but then immediately stops and switches over to Beethoven's Fifth. Hook comes out, does his shtick. Right off the bat, Hook baits Perry into a corner splash. The two brawl out into the crowd. Hook hit a Superman punch off the ring, the barricade around the ring. Perry then came back in an eye rake, followed by a missile drop kick. He tangled Hook up in the ropes. Hook came back, hit a Northern Lights suplex off the apron. Perry then hit a Hangman DDT off the apron. Hook then shrugged off a German suplex, began hitting German suplexes of his own. That is until Perry grabbed the ref and used that as a distraction to get a low blow. Perry tried to grab the FTW Championship. He tried to hit Hook with it. Hook came back, tried to get into the Red Room, but got driven into the ref in the process. That enabled Perry to grab the belt, hit Hook with the belt, and get the 3 count for the victory. Overall, a decent match. The ending, I think, was a little not great. I would rather him hit Hook with the belt and then hit some other type of maneuver, because he then gets like a very weak pin to get the 3 count, and it seemed very unconvincing. Like, I think Jack Perry had to win the match. If you're going to really get him over as a heel, he has to kind of succeed to do that. And, to win the match, break Hook's undefeated streak, get the championship, founded by Taz, Hook's father. So, yeah, again, now it gives Hook maybe a little more motivation to maybe get it back. So, yeah, you could give him this brief reign. I think it would work a lot better. But overall, this was still a very fun match. A lot of good moments. Good action. Told a decent enough story. I just thought the ending was a little rushed and convoluted. We then got some backstage bits. We got Chris Jericho sitting down to a meal with Don Callis. Seemed to be having some fun. They then kicked the camera guy out. Taz continued to be upset about Hook. We then got an MJF Adam Cole segment. And it was MJF confronting his fear of spicy foods at a Chinese restaurant. And then they got drunk and hit one of the employees with the fabled double clothesline. That set us up into our next match, which was Britt Baker versus Kayla Sparks. This was just a squash match. Sparks did get a couple of good elbow strikes in. Baker then hit a belly-to-belly suplex, locked on the lockjaw. So, yeah, it was over at that point. Then we had our Blind Eliminator Tag Team Tournament final, MJF and Adam Cole versus Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara of the Jericho Appreciation Society, which may still exist. Jericho's theme music did hit. He came down to work the commentary table. Backstage, you got more MJF and Adam Cole. They now have matching tights, matching ring jackets, and a mashup theme, which was the big surprise that Cole was leading to, which made MJF very happy. Overall fun match. There was a dance-off to begin everything. Then MJF and Adam Cole went for the double clothesline. Got avoided. Sammy Guevara fought back, tried to hit his 360 or 630 on MJF. MJF rolled out of the way. MJF hit Guevara, with a he headbutted Guevara to the groin to eventually get the tag to Cole. Cole came in a super kick to Garcia. Guevara just broke up the money shot attempt. Garcia then broke up the double clothesline again with dueling chop blocks. Sorry, the phone went off. Adam Cole then talked MJF into hitting a torpe suicida to the outside of the ring. Cole then hit Garcia with the Panama Sunrise. Then we got the double clothesline finally on Daniel Garcia for the 3 count of the victory. Cole and MJF celebrated. Guevara and Garcia sulked their way up the ramp. Jericho tried to give him a good job, guys. They was proud of him, but they just kind of shrugged him off. So again, looks like Jericho Appreciation Society is falling apart. Don't know where exactly this thing with Don Callis is going, which we'll get to eventually. And, overall, this was a fun match. Definitely played more into shtick than telling a story, especially afterwards, too, because the ref was going to give MJF the belt. Cole decided, no, I'll give it to him. And he was holding it. MJF turned around and saw it. He's like, hey, what are you doing, man? You're not supposed to touch that thing. They got into a little bit of a heated argument, but then FTR came out to do a stare down, and that seemed to get Cole and MJF back onto the same page. Okay, no joke. This is like my 5th time trying to record this, so I'm going to try to get this right, okay? Okay, we're to the main event now. The Blood and Guts match between the Blackpool Combat Club with the Bastard Pac and Konosuke Takeshita versus the Golden Elite, that is, of course, the Elite with Hangman Page and Kota Ibushi. Kota Ibushi. Close enough. Sorry. Anyway, Chompy the Shark joined the commentary table very briefly, but that didn't play too far into the match. Then Don Callis also joined the broadcast table at some point, but I didn't see him. Claudio and Kenny Omega were the first to open things up. Right off the bat, we had kind of a problem. The Blackpool Combat Club had the coin flip advantage, so they're saying, this is War Games effectively. They can't call it that because WWE owns the trademark, but at one point they were going to call this the Match Beyond, but I guess WWE also owned the trademark to that, or they contested it. So anyway, but yeah, the idea was the Blackpool Combat Club owned the advantage, so after 5 minutes, one of their members came out. It was Pac. And at this point, like I said, this is where the inherent flaw in the match was. Because the Blackpool Combat Club enters through the crowd, they're snaking their way through everything. It takes them about, I'd say, a minute to a minute and a half to actually get to the ring. Now, they don't start the clock for the next person to come out until until someone is in the ring, but it's still taking a long time, and it's killing a lot of the momentum to the point that it looks like it's negating whatever advantage the Blackpool Combat Club had. Anyway, like I said, Pac was the next one out. He hit a nice missile drop kick. Hangman Page was the next one out. He had a pop-up powerbomb on Pac. He then hit Claudio with a moonsault off the cage wall. At some point, Omega did something. He got stuck in between the ring and the cage. Moxley was out next. He got a screwdriver and a fork. He drove them into Page and Omega. He then got a bucket of broken glass. He pulled them out as Nate Jackson. Nick Jackson, sorry. God. No, Mark Jackson of the Young Bucks. God. I can't tell the Young Bucks apart. Came out next. He had a face buster on Moxley into the glass. Wheeler Yuta came out next. This is again where I noticed the whole entrances were too long. And again, they're going to commercial during this too, so it's also really breaking up the momentum of the match. Like, I know they're doing the picture-in-picture thing, however, whenever a local ad comes up, that goes off. So, again, there are parts of the match I'm just kind of missing. Matt Jackson was out after that. He hit Pac with a Code Red facebuster type maneuver. The Bucks then double splash Moxley. Takeshita was out next, and that completed the BCC. He punched Omega in the face, then hit a big lariat. He punched a chair into Omega's face. Moxley then pulled out a bed of nails. He drop kicked Omega into it. He then kind of suplexed Omega into it, stomped his hand into the bed of nails. At this point, Wheeler Yuta and Matt Jackson were actually Ibushi then came out. Kota Ibushi came out. Wheeler Yuta and Matt Jackson were fighting to the top of the were fighting to the top of the cage. Matt hit several rolling Northern Lights suplexes. Yuta came back with a DDT and went back down to be in the ring. And as that happened, Matt revived. He found a bag of thumbtacks and poured them through the cage roof onto the Blackpool Combat Club that enabled. Thank you again. That enabled the Elite to get back into the match. Again, however, the Blackpool Combat Club began to fight back again. It looked like they were just about getting ready to deliver a killing blow to Omega. However, Claudio got avoided and inadvertently struck Pac, and that upset Pac to the point that he just left the match. At which point Don Callis decided, well, Takeshita's leaving the match too. And that just left Yuta, Claudio, and Moxley to fight the rest of the Elite. It did not work as Moxley got cuffed to the ring post. I think Claudio also did. And they got stuck there. And Yuta wound up getting choked with a chain. And eventually Mox had to submit on behalf of Wheeler Yuta to spare him any more suffering. So the Elite win. And yeah, this is kind of where that match really fell apart. Again, if you were expecting some type of resolution with this Don Callis, Chris Jericho thing, you're kind of disappointed. Like I said, momentum broken up because of how long it takes for members of the Blackpool Combat Club to get to the dang ring. Commercial breaks in the middle of this. It's probably why this needs to be a pay-per-view match and not on a broadcast show anymore. Back when you're only doing 4 pay-per-views a year, yeah, that probably makes a little bit more sense, but now it's like, you're pretty much at 7, I believe. Now with all, you had your 4, and then you had Forbidden Door, and then All In is coming out. So yeah, you're up to what, 6? So yeah, and if you're gonna do, I think they got to angle more towards monthly pay-per-views at this point. I think that's just kind of got to be it. I'm not. It's like, monthly's fine. If you want to maybe do 10 instead of 12, okay. But yeah, so that way some of these matches it can't be interrupted by commercials, which just breaks the momentum of everything, especially for something as big as this is supposed to be. Or this is supposed to be kind of the feud ender, and yeah, that's just kind of where it falls apart. I'm okay with the Elite winning. They are technically the baby faces in this, so. The idea is the babyfaces should win the rubber match. But yeah, again, this really kind of pulled this back down a little too much, in my opinion. It just kind of, bits and pieces, didn't quite work as well as they probably should have. Again, you look at a War Games match in WWE, and it works so fluidly, and they've got it down to a science. And this is a third one, and it's just so clunky. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna have to give this Blood and Guts special AEW Dynamite a C. Again, like, matches weren't bad. I do kind of wish maybe they had done one other match to fill some time out. I think it would have helped. Maybe do something to further, like, having Britt do her squash match is fine, but if you're gonna do that, have something with the Outcasts happen where, I guess, so you can maybe build. Is Jimmy Hayter coming back at some point? Like, can we do something where it's, it got just a little bit confusing. Not too much else to say about the show. Like, they did a backstage segment with the Best Friends and Darby Allin and Nick Wayne, where Darby asked Orange if AR Fox could get an international title shot next week, so he will. There's something... the Best Friends have a matchup for the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships at Death Before Dishonor. There was something else. Oh, and the Rampage Battle Royal is coming up. So yeah, I think that takes care of everything. And then MJF and Adam Cole are going for the Tag Team Championships on July 29th. So yeah, like I said, overall, not a terrible show. I don't think quite worked out as well as it should have. There was definitely a lot of room for improvement. Okay, so the next video is going to be the recap and review for Barbie. Then it's going to be the random trade review on Chew Volume 2. Then it's going to be the finale for Secret Invasion. Then it's Haunted Mansion. Then it's Ninja Turtles after that. And then I think SummerSlam's that weekend too. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember you can help me maintain and possibly even expand my professional wrestling covers by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTimeForCat Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.